Welcome to Spill the Milk. I'm Nikki, registered nurse, board certified lactation consultant, 20 years experience helping moms and babies breastfeed. We are going to talk about the crazy world of breast milk in bottles. Oh my gosh, you guys, there's so much information out there. I want to first enlighten you. I want to teach you something about bottle giving that I don't think a lot of moms think about. And the reason I talk so intensely on this is because you're pumping and you're doing hard work to put your breast milk in a bottle. And I don't want anyone wasting it. And I don't want anyone overfeeding it. But I want to give you tools so that you understand the difference between a baby at breast and a baby at bottle. This all has to do with you just picturing how a breastfeeding session looks like versus a bottle feeding session. So I've practiced this terminology for a while where I like for moms to understand a baby takes your breast. They take it. They go to your breast. They actively eat. And I've talked about these 3 phases of eating, and we're going to get into them right now because they're so important. An at breastfeeding session looks like this almost every single time. It's very recognizable, and it's how you can tell your baby's getting full. When baby goes to breast, they start out with a cute little quiver suckle, which signals letdown. Then they immediately start doing suck, swallow, breathe, very repetitiously, very almost loudly for some babies. And it's very rhythmic. You can count it out. You can watch them go, and they're going and they're eating, and it's very rhythmic. And then that's a lot of work. So they take a little break. They take a little break and then they get right back to it. They do the little quiver suckle to get a letdown, and they go back into that repetition of eating. And pretty soon, what starts to happen is phase 2 comes along. So that was phase 1 of active eating. Phase 2 comes along, and it is that sweet, sweet baby starts slowing down on their eating process. You guys, they're doing this for a reason. They're questioning whether they're full or not. And because they are the one controlling the feed, they're taking milk from you, they're slowing down. And they're trying to figure out, am I full? Am I not full? That may look like periods of suck, swallow, breathe. That may look like some breaks back at suck, swallow, breathe 5, 10, 15 times, followed by a longer break. But it does not look like phase 1. Phase 2 is questionable fullness. Leave your baby alone. Let them get there. Let them sit in that and try to figure out if they're full. Phase 1 happened, phase 2 has happened, and here comes phase 3. For a newer baby, that usually looks like sleep. Very few suckles, very few swallows. Lots more of what I call that quiver suckling, that light suckling action, just to stay latched and be comfortable. That, you guys, is fullness. Now, in an older baby, that looks different. The older baby will still do phase 1 and phase 2. But they may not go full on to sleep in phase 3. They may just stop nursing in general. Some babies may turn away and pull off. Some babies may just kind of hang out for a few minutes, do a little quiver suckle, and because they're mobile and because they can look around, they usually remove themselves from breast. That is what an at breastfeed looks like. Mind you, your baby was in control. Your baby was taking your breast. That looks very different than bottle giving. Babies take breast. We, me, you, and whoever is feeding your baby the bottle is giving it. We give it. They can't just take it, especially if we are not supporting them in the taking process. I still want your baby to be able to go through those 3 phases, but let's talk about why phase 3 is really hard to get to with a bottle. Bottles are not designed to slow the flow based on the baby's suckle. Babies don't have to work as hard at bottle to remove milk that's in it. Now remember, go back, your baby takes your breast, which means they control their level of fullness. When we, you and I, give that bottle, we start putting our own needs ahead of what baby's telling us. And this is why paced bottle feeding is so hugely important. I can't say it enough that paced bottle feeding isn't just the action of holding the bottle parallel to the ground. It's allowing baby to have pauses and take and receive the bottle. Think about this. If you keep putting the bottle back in their mouth after they've shown you they're a little full, and they just maybe do some comfort suckles, they can't do that with a bottle like they can with breast. And because you keep giving it, they have to keep taking it. So, what I want to invite you to do is when you are giving your baby a bottle, I want you to still try to allow them to take it. Paced bottle feeding, again, is not just the action of holding the bottle parallel to the ground, but it is, for me, and the way I explain it, is removing that bottle several times during a feed to check to see if baby actually wants more. If you're one of those moms who holds your baby in your arms and feeds the bottle to gravity and just lets the bottle dump into your baby's mouth, you will overfeed your baby. Your sweet baby needs to be allowed to show you they're full. And when we keep putting that bottle back in, we are not allowing for your baby to show us they're full. What that really looks like and how I can really get into this paced bottle feeding information for you is to first give you information on how much breast milk does my baby need in a bottle. First, knowing some guidelines is going to help you understand what this looks like. So there are some really good studies out there that teach us that a breast milk fed baby takes about an ounce to an ounce and a half an hour in between feeds. So what does that look like? Well, if it's been 2 hours since the last feed, 2 to 3 ounces. Now, some of you are immediately going to go, oh, my baby takes 4 ounces every 2 hours. Back up. Are you truly pacing the feed? Are you allowing your baby to show you that they're still hungry? So what I would recommend a mom do is to start with the 2 ounces. Go slow. Bottle feeding needs to take 10 to 15 minutes because that's how long it takes for the belly and the brain to speak to each other to register fullness. Slow down the bottle feed. Slow it down however you have to. Start with 2 ounces. Then, once those 2 ounces are gone, and remember, you're looking for signs of fullness, you can always pour off another ounce and heat it up quickly if your baby prefers to have warm breast milk. That won't take long, and your baby's not going to escalate too quickly because, listen, they just got 2 ounces. But very carefully give that extra ounce. One of the biggest mistakes I think moms make is putting 4 ounces in a bottle and just giving the bottle. What if your baby only needed 2? And because there was 4 in the bottle, someone just gave it until it was gone. They weren't allowing the baby to take what they need. We need to control this better because, now listen to me, here's why. You're a pumping mom. The average amount to pump to replace a feed, and replacing a feed, what that is you feeding your baby with a bottle instead of with your breast. That means it's time to eat and you're going to choose to bottle feed. When you pump, the average amount for you to get, now remember, I told you it's an ounce to an ounce and a half an hour in between feeds. Babies typically take in 24 to 30 ounces in a 20-hour period or 24-hour period. Then what you need to understand is if it's normal to have an ounce to an ounce and a half an hour feed your baby, and what the average amount to pump to replace a feed? 2 to 4 ounces total. Total, sweet mamas. Not from each side. Total. Does that look different on each side? Absolutely. But it's the total amount. It can be 1 and 2, 1 and 1, 2 and 1, 1 and 3. Different on each side. Total amount combined. 2 to 4 ounces. It goes back with the science. Science tells us your baby needs an ounce to an ounce and a half an hour. It's been 2 hours since you pumped. 2 to 3 ounces. You get 4. Great. It's been 3 hours since you pumped. 2 to 4 ounces. We're still in that place of where we need to understand. Still, babies eat smaller quantities more often. Will they take 5 or 6 ounces? Yes. Go back to it. If you're giving them the bottle, they will take it. If you're forcing them to finish a bottle, they will take it. What's going to happen? You might get a spitter. Your baby might spit up. My biggest concern is you're wasting your breast milk, because no matter what, in an hour, that breast milk is used in your baby's gut, no matter how much you give. That's how rapidly your breast milk is used in their gut. They excrete the rest. So when you start trying to think about, my baby takes 4 ounces every time, I'm just going to give them 4 ounces every time, is it because you're allowing them to take, or because you are just straight on giving? And when we start running into that, we start running into moms who think they have supply problems because their baby's being given a 4-ounce bottle routinely on the dot. And when they're pumping at work, they're not always pumping that amount. Well, what if it's just a bottle giving problem? Somebody's not pacing the feed and you could keep up just fine. All those things need to be taken into consideration. Now, the caveat to this, and the wonderful thing about this, is as your baby gets older, your breast milk changes in composition. They don't need more. They don't need more because your breast milk changes in composition. The biggest thing I like moms to take away from this one is, as your baby gets older, they don't need more. Let's talk about why that is. You guys, when you first have your baby, you can tell the difference between a 2-week-old and a 6-week-old. And there's only a month difference. You can look at a baby and know that that 6-week-old is older than that 2-week-old. Now, there's only a difference of a month because that's how much growing they do in the beginning. Fast forward to a 7 and an 8-month-old, it's very hard to tell the difference. Very hard. Why is that? Because your baby grows rapidly in those first 4 months. And because your baby's bigger now doesn't mean they need more in a bottle. I want you to ask yourself this question. How did your baby get so big in the first place? From what you were already feeding. And this happens all the time in the real world with adults. When we see somebody who's big, we don't think they need more. We all know we need about the same. When we see somebody who's small, we don't automatically think they eat less. Put it into perspective for yourself. Really think about this give versus take methodology. A baby takes your breast, goes through the 3 phases of fullness, and you'll watch your baby do those. We need to try to practice that with a bottle. Because if we're feeding to gravity with a bottle, a baby is going to keep on getting because we're giving. Slow it down. Save your breast milk. Feed your baby until they're full by watching for signs of fullness, not the bottle for signs of emptiness. I really hope you enjoyed this episode on Spill the Milk. I think it's really important to understand the difference between at breastfeeding and bottle giving, and how important it is to make sure we're representing them in the same manner, allowing baby to take what they need. I look forward to your comments. Join me on Patreon. All of the descriptions on all the links, everywhere you can find me, virtual consultations, my classes, discount codes, Patreon links, all of that stuff, I'm going to link in the description. Thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to chatting with you next time on Spill the Milk.